There we are. Let's find a soundtrack of some type to listen to. What do I want to listen to? Oh. What game soundtracks are a banger? Hmm. We could do some Final Fantasy IX. Okay, so last stream we were working on buffs. We have pseudocode here. Okay, so our buff code, let's see. We initialize this under the battle layout, right? Which is here. Yeah. So why don't we copy this as reference? Dump that syntax into a notepad file. So, every step... Hey, Mutasaurus, welcome to the stream. Every step we need to check this and tick it down. Let's get the for loop syntax copied over, because I never exactly remember it. Here we go. Let's see. Or no, this is a... Wait a second. How do I want to do this? Okay, wait, I think I know how to do this. We'll do a very local variable buff, which will be an array of labels. So we have dam, def, ac, eva, pot in capitals, or heal over time. Stam rate. Movement. So these are the current buff options we have coded in. These 7. array length of buffs. That way, when we make a change to one, it's propagated to the other. Let's do it this way. Let's do global.buff types. And then we take this and we move this. Actually, let's leave it here as a comment for reference. And then we define this in the layout, right where we define the data structures. Makes sense to change that in one specific int spot and not have to change that in a completely disparate chunk of the code later. If we make a change to this, we need to make a change to this. They should be right next to each other, just for consistency's sake. Okay. So every step we iterate through the 7 available buff types. And then we want to do... we want to go through the timers. So this will be... Okay, let's think about this. This could serve as a better chunk of code to model other chunks of code on. If we take the time to do this nicely. So we'll have some sort of current timer, which will be the current entry out of the global buff types. But the timer specifically. So we find a current timer. I have an idea what the game's going to be titled. Yes, I have an idea for a title. I just haven't revealed it specifically. Because it's generic enough, I guess. I wouldn't want to potentially give the idea away. I don't know. It's kind of pointless to hide it, but I just, I'm not committed to it completely, but I also don't want it to be given away. Just in case somebody happens to be looking for a title for some other project. I think we're going to write a sub function. We'll do this. Def check timer. Nope. What do you do? Function? I forgot how this works. Function check timer. Some sort of input. Why is this? Hmm. Why does it not think there's an argument in this? Unless that's already a defined function? Okay. I think check timer might have already been a default function. No, it isn't. But rewriting it did fix it for some reason. Alright, we're not going to worry about that one. That was probably just a visual glitch in the feedback. Okay, so... this should actually be... this should just be... the label. Wait, why is this flagged red? Oh, because I wrote out the if. Duh. Let's make a note. So we got the current timer. And then we say greater than 0. You know what? Let's just, I don't think we really need this for anything else. Let's just do it like that. We need the room rate. Fish. There are no fish here. The room rate we can get from the sprites. This was called... no, we don't get this from the sprites. Still making the game. Yep, that's correct, Lucario. Yeah, we're making good progress. Still working on a lot of behind-the-scenes systems. So not a lot in terms of, like, visual progress, in terms of, like, what you actually see when you run the game, but... we're implementing a lot of abilities. Somewhere. We should have a good idea of how to implement this. There's a inherent, yeah, room speed underscore. That's what it is. So that's the FPS. So this happens every tick. which is why we want this to be 1 over room speed. So if the timer is seconds and then we're in 60 FPS, then every tick we decrement the timer by 1/60th. When do I think the game is ready for an alpha or beta test? Not for a while. This is pre-alpha we're working on still, like a vertical slice kind of an alpha demo. So it'll be a while. The big thing too is deciding whether or not I scale up production. Does this continue to be a little side project, or do I focus on this more? Do I try to get other people involved? And I want to finish the demo here and then have one of my friends play it and get feedback from him, and then kind of decide at that point what direction I'm going, if I'm going to expand production out. I would say it'd be a few months or a couple years, precisely depending on whether or not I expand out. A couple years is probably too long, but a few months versus a year maybe for that kind of thing. I don't know. This is my first like real game project. Like, I've never taken a game project this far, and I've certainly never released one. So it's also hard for me to evaluate like timetables because I just don't have the experience to say that. Yeah, it definitely depends on if more people get involved. If/when more people get involved, I guess is the thing, right? And, like, if I get a job, then this probably falls by the wayside a lot more too. Like, that's part of it. Like, right now I don't have a job, so it's like, should I make this a job and like expand this out, or should I not? What kind of game is it going to be? Like JW3? It's pretty different. It's kind of a spiritual successor to Monster Rancher, so it's a game focused on like raising and battling creatures. In this case, dinosaurs. So kind of an RPG, but with like some tournament and like real-time aspects to it, so. And some like simulation stuff. Okay, so we turn the timer down. And then we need another check in here, which is if timer is now precisely 0. Or say less than or equal to 0. That way, if there's some weird rounding error, it going negative also takes care of this. PvE. No. So PvP would be a feature that I would want in the game, but it is not necessarily a release feature. It is something that could be implemented down the road, post-release, or post-early access or something, theoretically, like who knows. I don't see PvP as a core feature, but I see it as an important feature, if that makes sense. Especially for like longevity. That's part of what's kept the Monster Rancher series going, is like people running tournaments and stuff. Even though those games are probably pushing 30 years old for the first one, people still play those because they can do tournaments and stuff. Or at least part of it's because they can do tournaments. So if this is now at or below 0, let's make sure the timer is exactly 0. That way we can self-correct for rounding errors. And then we need to turn the buff itself down. Or I guess set it to 0. There's a problem though. Right, that's why I wanted to nest this, because these are arrays too. So we need a for loop first. So we're gonna put this as for loop using J. Actually, yeah, let's just do it without the intervening variable. So entry J on all of these, including this one. Let's start make a notation here too. I'm coding this a little bit slow because I'm trying. I'm coding fast in the sense that I know exactly what I want to do, and I'm coding slow in the sense that I'm trying to do it the right way. Since I know exactly what I want to do, I could be hammering away at this even faster. But I've found myself disappointed recently going back to some of my code, especially as I expand out. So I'm trying to be a little bit better here on this one. So each buff has nested arrays. For a given buff of the type, count down. Let's put that comment actually down here. If buff active, evaluate. Handle buff expiration. Timer to 0 if negative, and then this is clearing the expired buff. But no, setting this to 0 is not what I want to do. I need to pop these. Removes the last element in the given array. I need to pop a particular index. Can I do that with an inherent function in GameMaker? Array find index. Find the index of the first array element that satisfies a condition. This doesn't matter. We already know the index. We just need to know how to remove that specific index. An array pop doesn't do that. There's array shift, which is the first. Array delete, this is probably it. Variable that holds the array, the index position in the array, delete the value from number of values to delete. Exactly this. So this becomes J and 1, and this. Yeah, then we don't care if the timer goes negative, because the second the timer is 0 or below, it gets deleted anyway. Just cleared from memory. Clear the timer, clear the corresponding buff. Oops. And then before we clear that, actually, we need to do the sum. So the sum was, well, the sum. So this one is not an array. So we do global dot PC buffs. Sum plus the input. This should be a string. So sum damage becomes minus equal the actual value we are clearing at the jth entry. Right? And this is all only happening if it's going to be deleted, so this is perfect. We check the value, remove it, clear it, clear it. Yep. Subtract off the buff value from the sum of all buffs. Okay. Does that take care of everything already, I think? Yeah, this should be it. Because the buffs are already... We already wrote the code that generates the buffs and propagates them to the list. We just needed this cleanup code. Let's add a output for debug, where the debug is just global.PC buffs. And then we'll bug check this, and then if this works, we copy paste this for the enemy buffs. Hey, Donut Lord, welcome to the stream. Maps are uploading part of the Donut Labs timeline. Alright, cool, cool. Fun to have your own canon going. I can appreciate that. Okay, so we implemented... Let's check this passive. This was for the implementation of the first buffing passive, which is enduring. So this is now tagged as implemented. This now functions on a 60-second timer because this lasts for the whole battle. Hey Rugops, welcome to the stream. It's going good. We're making progress behind the scenes on the game engine here. Actually, this might be the last major mechanic to add right now. I think, because now it's just kind of iterating on it. Because I think buffs are really kind of the last thing we were missing. Okay, so genetic info. I think we're currently hard-coded to be enduring, but let's make sure. Yeah, rank 3 enduring. So let's test it. So basically, the terminal should be shitting out a ton of outputs in battle, because it should be like 1 per... Oh, it crashed. Well, yeah, I was going to say 1 per fractional second. Index 0. Okay, we got an indexing error. Line 23. Oops, this isn't supposed to be buff length here. This was copied from here, but didn't change the comparison value. This is a new length. Which is the array length of whatever the nested array is. Ah, but this doesn't work either. Oh, no, it does. I just have to adjust it. I think? Wait a second. Okay, we have a flaw. And I have to think of how to rectify it. Well, the flaw is we're removing array entries inside the loop, which is complicated because that changes the indexing. Right? If we're counting from 1 to 10, and then when we get to 5, we delete 5, and then we only have 9 things left, this code will break. Let's think about this. If we just decrease the size of the length 2 by 1, this doesn't do it alone. So we've removed an entry. So the array is shortened. But if we shorten the array, we want to still count the item that moved up. We're busy hunting monsters to extinction. That could be a good thing or a bad thing. Question is, what is the behavior here exactly? If I shrink this value down, does it actually track that? I think so. I think when length 2 internally changes, it should be, it should be a thing. So can I just do J, also J minus 1? Would this work? We removed an entry so the array is shortened. We go back and redo this index because it is now it is now the next buff, actually. This, I think this works. If this is updating every loop, this should be fine. Like, if we have 10 entries and entry 5 is expired and has been kicked out, then this we would want to check 5 of 9 again, which would have been 6 of 10 originally. So we go from 5 to 5 on J and 10 to 9 on length. That looks right. We'll have to check it. Let's test first that it works, period. Okay, we got multiple timers ticking down. I'm watching them in the terminal. Okay, let's look at the outputs now. So at the very end here, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 internal buffs running because we took 7 hits during that fight, which corresponded to 7 plus 15s to defense, which summed up to 105. Perfect. So now we need to test the expiration. To test the expiration, maybe we just make the passive expire in like 5 seconds. 6 seconds. We can just delete the 0. Oops. Okay. Then if we look at the outputs, at the very end of the battle, we had 1 buff active, 2 seconds remaining. The sum was 15, the buff itself was 15. And if we scroll up here, we had 30 and 15. And the timer shows we had one with 0.02 seconds left. Interesting. 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 10. Well, I mean, it worked. I don't quite understand the timing of that in the printouts, but the behavior is correct. Oh, no, I understand the... Wait, I think I understand the timing. Yeah, no, because it's rounding. Yeah. Because it's 60 FPS, but it's in decimal, so it's in, 1 to 100. So you're going to get weird rounding things in the output. But the function's correct. Okay, cool. Great. I guess we do... Let's do this. Check PC buff. And then we do a duplicate function for the enemy buffs. Check PC, check EM. And then we do... PC buff. EN buff, which just replace every instance of PC with EN, and the code is the same for both. Should be it. Nothing showing any errors. Okay. Great. On to the next passive now. Anticoagulant saliva. This is an awkward one because this is scaling up bleed. This is actually a unique effect. You know what? Let's do Regenerator first, because we should finish implementing heal over times. Where do we handle bleeds right now? 12 of 20 monsters you want done tonight? Solid. I don't know how solid, but it sounds good to me. I thought I had... Yeah, status handler. Here we go. So if we go to bleeds, is this only the timers? Okay, this here is the enemy bleeding. And the PC character bleeding. It's all functioning stepwise. We should do this. Okay, first off, HOTS should probably fire before bleeds as a game rule. So we do if global dot PC. Yeah, no, this should work. It doesn't. We just do this global dot PC buffs dot hot. If it's greater than 0, now this does handle HP on a fractional level, but that's probably fine. You want to make videos that explain some things with Donut Labs, like how the bull was brought back to life. You could certainly try and do something like that. I don't have much to add, but sure, go for it. So this is per second. So then this is just global dots. Oh no, it's not. It's the object. This is an object parameter we're using for HP. This divided by room speed. If player HP is greater than max HP, player HP equals max. That way you can't go above your full value. It should be everything we need. So that's a Pythonism. So if global PC hot is non-zero, you get some fractional heal. If you exceed the max, it becomes the max. This gets a little weird, maybe, if you, like, fractionally go above your max HP, but because bleeds are also fractional, I think it just has to be this way. It should be fine. The difference is a rounding error anyway, like, it's not going to matter. Even if it's like technically offset, it'll be offset by, you know, 1/60th of a second. And you die anyway. Oh, we need this. I think? The application of this condition is a little weird. Just because the label is PC attacking. Yeah, because we need this is tracking whether or not it's an active second, but is this bleeding during the enemy's attacks? We need to investigate this. There might be a little discrepancy in how these are handled. Oh, this should also be the sum, not the hot. Because the sum is the current tally of all hots. And the hots are actually just the list of the values, which is not actually directly useful. Okay, so this PC attacking... Where is this generated? Actually, let's just see if it exists for the enemy first. It might be fine. Imagine a Hell's Kitchen parody, but GW3. Are they trying to make the perfect park or some shit? Are you saying, like, you got, like, a noob trying to make a park, and then, like, an old pro just, like, screaming at him? What the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you putting those two dinosaurs together? You fucking stupid? That could be pretty funny. That could actually be a decent format for some other stuff, too. Like, just basically anybody playing a game for the first time, but then they got a friend who's like an old pro just badgering them in the background whenever they fucking do something dumb. Could be pretty good. So this is just handling movement. So every step this sets attack into false. Or I mean when the timer finishes. And so where is this set to true? Probably when we press a button, but where is it set to true for the enemy AI? It's probably here. Under AI. Resolve attack function. Which is probably under script 1? Maybe? Yep, resolve attack. If attack is the player, if attack is the enemy. Hmm. What was this called again? Feeds. Yeah, PC attacking. That's not in the script at all. So is this set by the attack buttons, in which case... Resolve attack. Ah, here, global.pc attacking is true. This is the copy. This code looks the same on the enemy AI. Okay, yes, there it is. Global.pc attacking is true. Okay, so PC attacking is actually PC or enemy. Because it was copy pasted to create the AI anyway. So that's correct. That works correct. So the hot should be good to go. Let's test it. This is regenerator. If we go to the genetic info, regenerator tier 3. Okay, it's not working. Oh, I don't think I coded start a battle triggers. Yeah, because this is a start a battle trigger. We did this is we didn't do this either. Yes. I did forget this because this immediate the game doesn't know how to handle that. This is minor. This is not complicated. So this is in the layout. When everything else is initialized, we go through the buffs. We initialize the buffs. We generate the UI. And then we should do this here, I guess. Actually not as simple. I guess it's fine. Fuck, is it? Copy this code. Immediate buff handle. When am I going to stream GW3 again? That'll be Saturday. Every Saturday, unless something changes. That's the idea. Go over the PC buffs. Yeah, I think we just copy over as much of the other code as we can. All right, let's just do this. And we'll just cut it down, I guess. Chats are not showing up on the stream. Oh, shit. Thanks for that. I did not notice. Interesting. Why is that broken? Why is that broken, and how do I fix it? Let's see here. Okay, maybe that works. God damn it. Ugh. Yeah, that worked. Yeah, I guess it just lost connection to the browser source or something. I think we've seen that happen once or twice before, but it is kind of weird. Okay. Attacker stats.passives. This is not a thing. So this should be global.pc. Yes, global.pc.passives. So we iterate through the player character's passives. Yeah, thanks for letting me know. I definitely am oblivious to a lot of that sometimes. We're also missing a lot of closing brackets here, but we'll fix that later. Okay, let's do this. Let's not change the syntax because that just confuses things. We just define that. Oops. Define that here. Attacker stats is global.pc. So now we go here, we iterate. This can all theoretically stay the same. We shouldn't need to reindex ever. Let's make another note. This is a stripped down version of the passive parsing code from the scripts. So reindex values should never matter. None of this should matter because we never use this in theory. On attack, sitrep invalid could matter. Maybe. I'm not sure if they do. Probably not currently. So if we make this immediate, we can now kill this. Modded stats is the third entry. This might still be correct. No, if modded stats J is buff, this is entry 2. So this should be 3. This can be 2. So if immediate, this becomes modded stats. Iterate through this. Yeah, and this is all gone. And if buff, this is the effect. And now that goes there. This should all be shifted in one. Okay, let's make sure this makes sense. We're missing one more closing brackets. So, we check our passives list. We find the name and the rank. We pull the information for the given passive. We split it up for parsing. The passive info, just the effect. So, if entry 0 is immediate, which will be for regenerator, then we take the second thing, we carve this up. This will be buff for regenerator. So there's only a single entry. So this for loop is kind of a formality. We find a buff. The buff is applied. Well, we find a buff, we split up the buffs by their individual categories, and then we apply the buffs. This should all be correct. Now we could consider re-implementing this functionality. Problem is a lot of these modded stats, these are like changes to attacks based on a condition. Actually, yeah, no, if I generate modded stats here, it doesn't do anything, I don't think. Because this was coming out of some other functions that were using the mod dat, which I think got pushed at the end of the function. Whereas here we're not pushing anything. So this only works with buffs. Yeah, okay. That should work. Do the same for the enemy. Splitting on passive, immediate, blah, blah, blah. Then just here. This is where the meat and potatoes is. So all these change to be enemy. And that should be it. Is this... Yeah, that's finished. Test it. Okay, it's not working. Did I typo? No, it shouldn't be typoed. Might have typoed the ability itself, Regenerator, possibly. Yeah, I also forgot that crit is here. Regenerator, comma 3, that should be right. We'll check some printouts in a second. Let's take care of the fact that we didn't include crit. Which just means we got to fix the global.buff types, right? That's it. Which we defined here. Okay. So let's add in maybe at the very end a readout. But of what? That's not going to help me. I need to know where this breaks. So yeah, we do this. Show debug. Thoughts on the Monsterverse? I'm not a huge fan. I have watched only some of the movies. My Godzilla is Shin Godzilla. So I haven't cared that much about the American takes. Okay, before anything else happens, let's just stop this. I think I might have too many entries already. Oh, no, wait, we're good. Okay, Regenerator was recognized. Interesting. So I like my monsters with some good Lovecraftian horror, which is why Shin Godzilla is the shit in my mind. So why does this not get past here? Should debug message modded stats? This is kind of the folly of adapting other code, is if it doesn't work, then it becomes a little harder to fix, because you're not thinking about, like, your mind isn't directly on what everything means, because you copied it. This is why AI programming is bad, too. And why I don't do AI programming. Okay, so this returns the value hot, not buff. That's the problem. And that's because I didn't change this index to 1. I thought I did? Am I crazy? Oh, I didn't... Wait, this one didn't change either. I thought I changed these indexes. Oh, I think I did change them. I just didn't change them enough, I guess. Maybe they were off by 2 originally, and I changed them only by 1. I needed to change them by 2. You got all the monsters. Congratulations, Monster Slayer. You sure showed them. Okay. Hit me. Make me bleed so I can see if I... Oh, yeah, that was recovery. Sick, it's working. Are we recovering an absurd rate, though? Because our HP is never going down. We're like immortal. Why are we immortal? The hot value... Also, it should have, like, expired by now. This is very funny. This is how we win. We win by cheating. I'm immortal! Okay. What did we do? This is a problem not with this code. This is a problem with the countdown code. Or yeah, no. This is not even a problem with the countdown code. This is meant to be infinite. Actually, I forgot that this was supposed to be a small heal over the entire battle. Instead, we're recovering HP at like an insane rate. And that is because when we went into... Actually, oh, hey, wait a second. Wait. 0, 1, 2, 0. Yeah, this has to be fixed. 1, 2. Okay, that's good to go. And let's get rid of the readouts, the debug messages. This works fully, and then we need to go to the status handler. This is where the bug is. The bug is in the rate of the heal, and that is because... Why? I don't know why. This looks like this should be fine. Okay, let's print out the actual player HP values. Actually, let's check the sumha and the readouts. But I'm pretty sure it was 3. So this should only be recovering... Yeah, 3. 3 over 60. This shouldn't be... Like, how is this God mode? This shouldn't be God mode. 3 HP a second. Over the course of the entire battle, we recover 120 HP. Which means they gotta kill us twice over, essentially. Which is like... It is incredible, don't get me wrong. It's like... But it's supposed to be a high tier ability. 108.05. Yeah, we're healing... What the fuck? Wait, what the fuck? Right, this is ticking up from 108. I need the moment that it hits me. Because there should be an instantaneous tick. These are the ticks when it was attacking. And then immediately after it attacks, it's still back to 108. What the fuck? No, I know this value. This is 0.05. Wait, am I not taking damage here? Is that what's happening? Why would I not be taking damage? Let's turn off the healing. Because it looks like something else is actually happening here, and I don't know why that would be. Now HOTS shouldn't do anything. Yeah, I'm not bleeding. What the fuck happened? There shouldn't be an issue here. My HP, I saw momentarily that there was damage. What the fuck? What in the fuck? JW3 has a shit ton of bugs. Maybe I should break into their headquarters and fix them myself. Yeah, I don't have the experience with their code base to even begin to do something like that. There's a big difference between programming something like this and programming a three-dimensional game, too. Once you start to introduce physics and, like, model conflicts, things get more complicated. Let's comment this out. Okay, we're now in full bug check mode, because something broke pretty substantially here, and I don't know what. I don't know why that would be it. But that's the thing I was working on, so I don't know what else to check, realistically. Yeah, we're still full healing. So this was all not it. Interesting. Is it the regenerator affect itself for some reason? That's full healing me? It is. How is the regenerator full healing me? How does just having this passive result in me fully healing? What the fuck? Okay, let's further narrow this down. This is a really weird bug. Let's comment out all this. So now there's no buff checking at the start of battle. Okay, so that's where the bug is. What in the fuck? Oh. So this is breaking it because it finds that buff. This happens once. Will there be boss fights? Every fight's a boss fight. But there will be like some other. There will be things that are more boss-like than others. Yeah. What part of this could possibly be resulting in me healing infinitely? I actually am baffled by this. Let's comment out just these 3 lines. What the fuck? Okay. So somehow this getting array pushed makes me infinitely heal. Am I healing somewhere else? Did I already code something with the HOTS and I forgot about it? That's got to be it, right? Because we do take the damage, we just infinitely heal afterwards. So I coded something somewhere, I guess, to use this and forgot about it? Am I stupid? Oh yeah, right here. What the fuck? I wrote this. This is obviously all wrong. When did I write this? This had to be last stream. I had to wrote this on Tuesday and I forgot. Yeah, it's because this is healing the per second heal every fraction of a second. So this is healing to full every second, essentially. Every, like, 2/3 of a second. Yeah, this positioning made, like, no sense anyway. I'm gonna keep it here, I guess. LMAO, what the fuck? This is A, wrong, and B, I rewrote this already since I completely forgot this existed. What the actual fuck? Alright, great. Bug resolved. The bug being that there was bad code I crammed in there probably at the end of a stream on a whim. I probably wrote this in the middle, like when I was actually generating the buffs and just kind of threw it in there quickly without thinking about it, and we definitely didn't test it, obviously. Interesting that we do see the fractions. Did I code bleeds to not be fractional? I must have. Well, okay. Let's adjust that. You have a question? Fire away. How do we do this? PC bleed timer. So we generated this thing called a PC bleed timer. Okay, so we just do a PC hot timer. EN hot timer. And then we do the same thing. If PC hot timer is greater than 1, do the heal. Then set it to 0. And that should be it. Then we need this. Let's just copy this. Would it be interesting? Another monster collector game. Demo of Monster Hunter Stories 3 is out now. Probably not, because I got a monster game in the back to do already. I'm kind of backlogged. Actually, I arguably have 2. Because Aethermancer is one I'm kind of been interested in. We do the hot, then we do this here. Timer to 0. Yeah, then I guess this bit we rework as well. We'll put this here. So this would be if some hot is greater than 0. Global.pc that buffs some hot greater than 0. Wait, do I need this? No, this is pointless because the hot expiration handling is already implemented, just in a different spot. But this might change the functionality because we do still need to handle the timer. So these are initiated at 0. Let's think about this for a second. So the timer ticks up continuously. When the timer becomes 1, it ticks over. So we're set to 0. Now what happens if the buff expires mid-tick? This value continues to exist. As long as there is a hot, this will continue to count up. This doesn't reset if the hot expires mid-tick. So theoretically, if you had, for whatever reason, with like rounding errors, a hot expire in the middle of its duration, the fractional value would remain when you start a new hot. Which in some way rebates you on the rounding error. I think this is fine. I don't even know if this would ever actually break. Let's test it. Okay, I mean, we have the hot and the bleed there at the same level, competing with each other directly. I would like the bleed to expire so I can actually see the fucking... the other effect kick in. Holy hell. I'm never not bleeding. Every time it's going to expire, he lands a new one. Or the timer's not working. Which is distinctly possible. Okay, I mean, it's currently just bugged on the screen. I'm also not healing. It's just really buggy, the restarting thing. Let's go here. It's still there. It took me down by 1 bleed point. And then it's just not healing. Interesting. Wait, I did heal. I'm back to full? It's just a little buggy. Get the Devourer in there last second. No. I think I still lost. Okay, well, anyway. It's a little buggy on the restart battles, but that's not connected to any of the stuff we're implementing right now, so this seems good enough. Good to go. Alright, let's check if my gym mate is still sick. Okay, let's go back to anticoagulant saliva and get this properly implemented. On attack, bite, global. So this is where it gets weird, is the scale and bleed thing. So we just got to implement new code to handle that. Copy that, add that to the notepad for reference, and get to it. So this plugs into the combat scripts. The passive parsing. So, on attack, this is met. We check the application situation and the subtype. These might be inverted? Because this is checking subtype validity. Let's look back at the passive dictionary. If we look at serrated teeth, on attack chance bite. It's expecting bite in slot 3. We should just follow that syntax. So bite. Wait, what is the other? On attack chance, on attack always. So this would be on attack always bite. On attack always bite. Like this. I guess it does say literally scuffed rewrite right next to it. Alright. No gym, that's what I expected, but I really should go to the gym, but I can't. Okay. Alright, so sit rep and valid is met. We meet the situation, which is always. We meet the validity. Now it is splitting the third thing at and, which is currently a scale effect. So if effect is effect, if it is buff, if it is scale. Oh, no, we have the buff stuff here. This should have been like a function, but that ship has kind of sailed because the syntax of the global variables is different. It's kind of bad. But I'm not going to rewrite it because I can't be fucked. Alright, we'll add this here. If modded stats is a scale. Let's call it a scalar, because scale is a loaded game term otherwise. I think this is the only scalar. Yeah. So, the same deal. We do this. Stats J. We're assuming a plus. It's not necessarily. This should probably be considered split on an and, I guess. Which we do for effects like this. Yeah. God damn it, now I want to play Final Fantasy. Oh, this is all indented one too many times. Okay, so let's make some notes. This is for effects that scale. Status effects. Yeah, because status effects are singular things. Buffs inherently stack and status effects don't. That's kind of the idea. So rather than stacking a debuff status effect, you have to specifically have an effect to scale them up to make them worse. These are supposed to be kind of special. Can scale multiple stat F. So then we do this. We get the individual effect. So this case, this would be like bleed. Status to scale. Okay. Yes, we would want this. Sort of. This needs to be rewritten, but this is ostensibly a thing. And this is pulling in value L. L equals 2 times K. Okay, that should also still use L. Syntax should be preserved here. So L equals 2 times K. So this would be finding 0. If there were 2 of these, it would be 0 and 2, which is right. Okay, now, do we ever use the reindexed value here? I don't remember. How many times do we adjust the index value for passive numbers? If it's chance or low health. Oh, this is a chance. Yeah. So this is reindexed, but this is also... yeah, this is a chance. This description was super scuffed in the dictionary. Like, when we wrote this out, this was complete nonsense. I don't know why this one was so poor. Yeah, a chance at a bite to scale a bleed. It literally says right there, a chance. Okay, and then let's check that logic. So this is going into sitrep. If condition's a chance, we get the base value 0, the scale value 0, and we roll the chance. Looks good. Yeah. Okay, so the chance is covered by the condition check in the same way it always was. So this is actually all still correct. Extra correct in that we don't have to change this. So we get a scale and we get a duration with the reindex values. Kuja's theme. Fuck yeah, let's go. Okay. And now what do we do with this? So the scale is always a 1. The duration... mod dat, attack effect logic. So this pushes here. The attack effect logic, which is returned at the end, right? Yeah, that's in mod dat. So this is basically saying that there will be a bleed that will be applied. I wonder if we should... If this'll work for this. Let's copy this and let's investigate this code again. Death effect logic. Oh, this is attack effect logic. That's the one we really want to look at. So, resolve attack. We get the attack effect logic. I think we do want to use this. I think this makes sense. Because this effect is like always rolled, but if we miss the attack, it shouldn't be applied. Which means it needs to be maintained. So we go to here. Array push to mod.attack effect logic effect scale duration. So this is bleed. And then 1 and 1 to 3. Now here's the problem. This is an extra, this adds on, so I need to do something else here for this. I need to get the target's bleed. So we get the defender. So I think we go to defender stats, right? That works. Is that a thing? Defender stats dot capital bleed? Oops. Bleed lowercase, bleed time. Okay, so this is $ effect. And this is $ effect plus time. Bleed and bleed time. This is base scale. Base duration. Base scale plus scale. Base duration plus duration. That should be good. It's a hard one to test. Anticoagulant saliva. Rank 3. And then we add... fish hook. Is that the correct form of that? Yes. Oh, I'm pretty sure I don't have that in the right slot, though. This isn't gonna work. Yeah, let's see. Let's do it like this. Let's clear that back out. Yeah, this is gonna work directly like that. This is a range 1, range 2. So this goes in slot 2, which is move 4. This can replace kick. Fish hook, fish hook, fish hook. Now it should work. Okay, fish hook is in slot 2. Why does it not function? Interesting. Fish hook is broken. Oh, okay, everything is very broken. Okay, what do we do? Undefined value, mod dat, plus equals m. Line 248 under parse passives. Here? Wait, what? Number here is the calc modifier to pass along. Why is this firing? Oh, because I have to tell it it's to not... Yeah. This is my, like, essentially my else. Okay, there, whoops. Okay, that's fixed. Let's put it here so we don't forget. This is, kind of shit, but whatever. Okay, now why was I not able to click fishhook? What did I break? Why did that not work? The button just seemed to be non-functional. That's weird. Fishhook, fishhook, fishhook 1. Wait, because of the cooldowns. I think. Now the question becomes... were those being correctly added? Okay, one bug at a time. One bug at a time. Step 1. Can we fishhook? Yes. We got it? We're still lost horribly. You're gonna hop off now, Muta? Okay, I'll catch you later. Thanks for coming by. Next, let's test out the moveset editor and make sure that actually is working. We add... Okay, we don't have gig. Okay, we do some training. We got Pierce. Which I don't know if Pierce is coded. Let's check real quick. Wait, I think all attacks are technically pseudo-coded. Just some of them don't have functionality. So I think this should work. Alright, so we put Pierce in over Headbutt. Then we go to the tournament. We start the battle. We'll come in for a fishhook real quick. See if we can land a Pierce. Pierce does not work. Go for the Devour. Okay, so we do have a bug. I didn't see if that Devour actually landed. Whatever. Okay, so the bug is basically that is broken in the same way. Hmm. Attack slots, the VARs, instance create depth attack plate at VARs, active plate 0. Yeah, so the cooldowns are never properly updated here. Let's think about this. Let's add something to this. Yeah, here exactly this. Show debug, global.pc cooldowns. Global.pc dot attack list or attacks? Genetic info. Attack list. We're chasing 2 bugs now. Well, we're chasing 1 bug and 1 playtest thing. Let's deal with the bug first. It's not even a bug. It's just not adequately dealt with. Like, it's just not configured for this to update. Okay, we go to the tournament. We're seeing Charge, Fishhook, Devour, Headbutt, Paralytic Bite, Threat Display. Jawlock, Fishhook, Threat Display, Devour, Paralytic Bite, and Charge. So, yeah, the bug fix is easy. We just gotta regenerate the cooldown list. This is probably a good idea anyway. Let's just copy the for loop syntax that I never remember. For M, where the length is the attack list. Suppress these. Global.pc attack list. First, I guess we... Do we delete this? Yeah, I suppose we can do, we should be able to do this, I think. Yeah, if we do this... We make an empty data structure. And then we just need to add things. So yeah, okay. So it looks like we can just do this. This should work. This should be correct syntax. Global.pc.cooldowns $, global.pc.attack list entry m equals 0. Let's actually re-enable these for the final debug check. And then we copy the cooldowns. And we double check that at the end afterwards. Okay. And if this should work, and this should be a much better way to handle it. Take tackle. Dinosaur data, moveset builder, tackle. Go to ranch. We go to tournament. Okay. Let's look at what we got here. Tackle. No, that's the other thing. That's the other readout. Charge, paralytic bite, devour, headbutt, threat display, fishhook. And charge, paralytic bite, devour, headbutt, threat display, fishhook, tackle. So this is the equip tack list. This is the cooldowns. No, this is the cool... Oh, this is coming from somewhere else. This is the cooldowns. And this is the equip list. And then it repopulates the cooldown list. Charge, tackle, fishhook, devour, headbutt, paralytic bite, threat display. The ordering's weird, but it worked. Perfectly. Let's test it out in battle at least. Bites. Dinosaur data, moveset builder. Bite over headbutt. Go to ranch. Tournament. Start battle. We'll test fishhook here as well, I guess. Okay, fishhook missed. Go for the bite. Okay, it worked. Bite worked. Undefined. Interesting. Why did it show an undefined? Oh, probably because the effect didn't work? Whatever bite's effect is probably just not coded. Okay, we got the fishhook. Bite missed. Okay. Let's now intervene more directly. In a few places. Okay, first I'll go to the debugs. This works, this is good to go. Let's make a note on what this is. Repopulate your cooldown list in the lobby for your current equipped move set. Okay. Did I... 060. Okay, I did reset the time on that. Oh, but I didn't hear on enduring. Yeah, 60 seconds, so this stacks infinitely. Now, if I make this a... We'll just make this 200%. It's fine. And we change the base value to 10, and now it'll crank the bleeding up immensely. Let's add a 0 to every number. Okay, and then we intervene on the player's behalf here, rendering our HP. Plus 10,000, I guess. Okay, land the fish hook. It worked. Land the bite. Land the devour. Devour hit. I didn't get a chance to read the status. Still bleeding at a slow rate, it seems. God damn it. These are going to run out before we can get another one off. Let's crank the accuracy value. Of the dinosaur as well. It's probably the last thing we're doing tonight is trying to verify that this is working. I think it's not working. Undefined showed up. I think the undefined is what's broken. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so let's look at mod dat. And then we need to suppress the readout for the buff handler, which is just running. Because this provides too much information. Clogs up the readouts. We should pay attention when this soundtrack ends here too. Okay, we got like one song left after this. Alright, launch a fishhook. Launch a devour. Whoa, the console popped. Why did the console pop? What the fuck? I've never seen that. Attack effect logic bleed 13 38.65. What? Wait, what? So debug log mod dat. That only shows up under the scaler. Okay, so let's copy this. Add this here as well. Pop the fishhook. Pop the devour. Yeah, why does this pop the terminal up? About to start room, free memory. Why does this show? This console effect's never shown up before. It's so weird. Anyway. So bleed 1.5. Okay, the capitalization's different. Is this just a capitalization error? I think this is just a capitalization error. Capital B bleed? This is a lowercase on resist. This is an uppercase on here. And the difference with that is when we're in here and the stats are being applied, do status is the function that does this. Ah, the problem is this is a capital B bleed and this is not. Fuck. We have a capitalization inconsistency. We verified resistances work, I think, right? Effect, resistance, array contains. Resistance check. We might want to check that resistances work. Okay. We have an issue with inconsistent cases. Bleed versus bleed. Would be better to Keep it 100% consistent, and it ain't. Okay. So, making it capitalized in the thing fixes it. Test that first. Then we reset the values, and then we test the resistance. Because that maybe never worked correctly. Okay, so we land the fishhook. Now he's bleeding. Now we go in for the bite. Okay, the game crashed, but that's something different. Undefined value. Okay. Undefined value parse passives line 263 array push. Line 263. 263. This broke. Oh, did it break here? Effect plus time. The effect is now bleed capital B. Shit might be real scuffed. Yeah, these are lower cases. Right. This is why capitalization matters. Fuck. Okay. What if... Okay. There's two ways to fix this. If I just change this to be lowercase bleed, that might be enough. On the attack side of things, effect weaken with a capital, effect bleed with a capital. See, this is all overly complicated too. Because this should all be like this bleed can be this bleed, can be this bleed, can be this bleed. I shouldn't have to do this for every. This whole thing needs to be rewritten. This function is also way over complicated. We can just propagate the stat labels to the internal variables if the case was consistent. It's not. Yeah. Oh, and the spaces. Life drain. Well, life drain's like different. But life drain is handled differently. However, life drain complicates that actually. ... We could make an intervention specifically for that to work. So if we can do if effect equals bleed. Actually, I guess we would want to do it like this. No, this should work. Or effect equals bleed lowercase. And then we parentheses this. And that should be correct logic. We add this here as well. Bleed and bleed. Okay, let's test this. This also would account then for typos on capitalization in general, which is not a bad idea. Okay, set up the bleed. Set up bleed number 2. Okay, terminal popped up, but did it work? I actually can't tell by the thing. I should look at the effects. The terminal distracts me. I don't know why that fucking terminal's popping up. That's weird. Okay, we dropped the fish hook. We dropped the bite. 93, 83, 73. He's bleeding really heavily now. So it worked. I think. Okay, so that works there. It works. Now the question becomes, does it work correctly? So on a hit, this adds 10 to the bleed. They were bleeding for 10, not plus 10. And 10 to the timer. Bleed 1030. What the? Yeah, this set it to 10 and 30. Bleed 1030. I understand the flaw here. The reason that set it to bleed 1030 is probably because it wasn't bleeding at the time. It almost is working. I want to see this again. We drop the fish hook. He's bleeding. We go in for the bite. Okay, he's bleeding the correct amount. That one worked, because that one actually did properly add in 13 and 38.35. Perfect. Okay, so this is working correctly. Okay, and now we go to now we got to resolve the problem with it. Let's reset the player stats. Genetic info. So we adjust these buffs, these big buffs, clear these out. And then we return this to being kick. And then we return this to being kick. And then we return this to being kick. And this. Not that this actually matters anymore, but we might as well keep it. Okay. And then the bug is actually that this works if there is no bleed, which it's not supposed to. And that's because we never put a check in for that. So we'll fix that quick here, and then we'll test the resistances, and then we're done with the stream. So, oh, and we got to copy this for the enemy too. First things first, though. So if it's a scalar, oops, I'm on the wrong section. That's why I got really confused. I was like, wait, this isn't it. This is it. Um, base scale and base duration. Then we just do if base scale is greater than 0. Array push it. Let's do this. If base scale greater than 0 and base duration greater than 0. In case one has timed out and the other hasn't for some reason. So only if both of these are non-zero do we push this through. If bleeding, extend bleed, which is how this is supposed to work. And that should really be it. So then we got to go add this down here. If buff, if scalar, does the syntax change here at all? No, this is the defender. So this should change, right? Because we inverted this. Yeah, so this is if the defender has a passive that's scaled up. So this should be attacker stats effect. Attacker stats. Attack effect logic. This is like def effect logic, right? Yeah, def effect logic. Push to def effect logic. Base skill is the attacker bleed. Yes. Should be it. If the attackers, so this is a counter attack effect essentially, which doesn't exist. But if the attacker is bleeding, then the defender can increase the bleed if such an effect did exist. So that should be that. And now we want to go to here. We want to finish these. Fear or lowercase fear. Paralysis or paralysis with a lowercase up he. We can stagger the last one. Staggers the last one. Stagger, stagger. Okay. That should be that. Then we want to go to the passives. We want to find bleed resistance. Let's tag this as implemented. Implemented. The resistances, I guess, were up from this. So we go to bleed resistance. We're going to make this a fat 50%. Bleed resist. Then we go to genetic info. We add bleed resist tier 3, I guess. Bleed resist 3. And now we should never be bled, theoretically. Okay, it is bleeding. So the resistance doesn't work. So I guess we never checked this correctly. Is that actually tagged in the passives that we never checked this? Implemented but untested. Yeah. Okay, this could just be a capitalization thing. If resist logic goes to here. Okay, so the effect is going to be a lowercase bleed. This is the resist check. Effect plus resistance, bleed resistance. Is this... Wait. If passive logic. Oh, this is hard-coded here. Okay, right, because I cheated these. Okay, it still happened. Oh, if attacker equal... I did the wrong one. Oh my god. 15. If attacker is the enemy, 150. Mm. Show debug message effect tag. Show debug message global.pc.passives. This just has to be a casing issue, right? Or something. Oh, I know what the issue is. I wrote fucking resistance. This is just resist. This is, in general, a poor implementation of this mechanic. It should probably be handled as an internal attribute that is modified by the path. Yeah, I don't think we should do a check. This should just be. Did I not make this already like a thing? I guess not. So what we could do is we could do under. We leave it alone for now. This is good enough for the vertical slice. We could add a class of passives that effectively modify stats and make these internal stats, and that would be the way to do it, probably. Bleed was resisted. Sick. Okay. Bleed resist comma 3, bleed resist comma 3. Looks good to me, so. Okay. Seems good. That's going to be it for the stream. Next stream will be JW3 on Saturday. No plans before then for another stream. Let's save off a backup. Because I save a backup every fucking day. And then let's upload this to GitHub. But I will do that later. All right. Thanks for watching the stream if you're here, or watching the VODs in the future when this highly successful game has come out. And this is historic archives. All right. See ya.